Hi, my name is Emeka, and welcome to Growth is Personal. Each week, I share insights and strategies that will equip you to accelerate your personal and professional growth and bring you conversations that will empower you to thrive in life, career, and business. There we go. All right, welcome once again to Growth is Personal podcast. Today, I have on the show one and only Eno Eka. Oh, she Eno has been excuse me. Eno has been a very big how do I put it? I've been a fan, I've been a follower. Um, I haven't got to meet her in person, but she has made such impact in my life over the course of the few years I've come across her on social media on LinkedIn. I remember when I used to work with a particular organization and she would share my post because I used to work in the talent acquisition position there, and she would share the post of my job posting, just that little gesture to support and all of us. Oh yeah, you can remember. Oh, I
No,
remember.
I can't
I
remember.
remember, you share the posting, just to share with your community jobs that are available within my organization. You share it. Those are little gestures that you did that were really impactful. And again, like I said before we started recording, you blew up. You went viral. In Canada,
Mm.
there's no one that should. If you don't know Eno, then that means you're not on LinkedIn or you're not a social media person, because you have impacted a lot of lives, especially for the immigrant community. You have shown that anything is possible. So I'm
Mm.
so excited to have this conversation with you and have you on the show. It's not easy. You don't come by having people like this on the show. So Eno, it's it's a pleasure and privilege to have you on the show. Please take the floor. Let us know as listeners, those who are going to be watching on YouTube or listening on Apple or Spotify. Tell us a little bit. You have a huge profile here, which I probably will read later on, but give us an idea of who Eno Eka is for those who don't know you.
Okay, who is Eno Eka? Eno Eka is a business analyst and consultant, educator. I live in Calgary, Alberta, based in Canada now, born in Nigeria. Started my career as an accountant in Nigeria, found the business analysis career, got started in that career. A friend told me about Canada. I applied, just say, let me try my luck. I thought it was like a lottery or something. So I
Right.
applied anyways, I got it. And then I moved to Canada in 2018. And this year, in fact, in a few days, it'll be 5 years of me being a resident in Canada and now a citizen.
Five
I,
years?
yeah, 5 years.
God.
I am
Wow.
the founder of the Business Analysis School, where I help professionals leverage business analysis skills to land lucrative six-figure jobs and live a fulfilling life and be happy. And also, I am the CEO of Any Consulting Incorporated. We provide business and tech consulting, corporate training, speaking, workshops, anything around corporate development, helping your employees become a better version of themselves, and also helping you to meet your revenue goals. So that's really what I do, and that's me.
Hmm. You just said that like that's not all. There's a lot that you do, and I know you can't share everything here, but this is this is really inspiring. You've been here in Canada for 5 years, and you've done. I mean, if I should start to share your awards, it's probably going to take us another 30 minutes, right? I'm not not to exaggerate, because it's a whole lot. So now I want us to break it down. Tell us about your journey. I still remember your picture that you post side by side where you were 5 years ago or so and where you are now.
Right,
Tell us
right.
about your journey and what do we have to understand to see what has caused you to change, what has caused the change or the transformation from where you were to where you are right now.
What has really caused that change? I don't want to sound cliche, but first of all, it definitely is the mindset. When I was coming to Canada, I was just like everybody else. I was scared, and mine was even very peculiar because I was moving here by myself, single, without any family or friends who would basically support me. When I applied to come to Canada, I just thought, oh, my friend was telling me about this immigration program. Like, okay, let me try it. But moving here without knowing anybody, there were those fears. And honestly, I didn't even want to tell people about it because I felt, okay, if I go there and it doesn't work out, I can always just go
Go
back to
back.
Nigeria. And it just looked like I took a vacation. So I didn't really tell anybody aside from my family that I was going to be making that move. So making that move, coming here, and then being able to grow so quickly, one was the mindset of, okay, I'm going to succeed no matter what. I just told myself one day that, I'm not going to go back. I'm going to succeed no matter what. And I started, finding the support I needed by reaching out to people, using LinkedIn, to WhatsApp groups, to reach out to people who were immigrants like me in the same sort of professional career or just having that same path, and asking questions and seeking some sort of mentorship and coaching from them, just finding out how they've been able to do it, getting all that advice that I could. Those were the things that really helped me, that mindset, building my mindset, because when I first came, people told me, oh, you have to start from here. These are the ways to go. When I went to immigration agencies, when you go there, they send you lists of jobs. A lot of times those jobs are survival jobs in the warehouse, farmyards, wherever, right? Stores, anything that you can to just start, getting money. So, but I knew that I wanted more, and I knew that I didn't have to just start from there. Like I don't know where that came from. I guess it was just that mindset that, you know what, I am going to succeed no matter what. And I'm going to find the people that are going to help me. I'm going to push. I'm going to do whatever it takes to achieve this. So it's definitely one, the mindset, and then two, finding the support system that helped me and provided me with the guidance, because they basically just told me, these are the things we've done. If you implement these things, you should be able to get the success that you need.
Great, great. I like the fact that you started with mindset, because I think it's really critical. What I see, a lot of times is the fact that we have people who are experienced, who have, a vast amount of, experience and knowledge, but when they come into a particular country, wherever it is, if it's Canada, they begin to shrink. They feel like they're not enough. They don't have what it takes, and having that mindset. So talk to us about, how did you? Now, you said you had a support system, but I want to focus on that mindset as in particular. What were the things you had to do intentionally to be able to have the right mindset to pursue your dreams?
Sure. So just like anyone else, I was scared and I was worried about this, Canada move. So what I did was, in fact, I kept moving my flights, right? I kept moving. I got here like 3 days before my visa expired. That's how, and I got my visa like maybe 8 months before. I kept moving my flights because I was so scared. That fear, should I resign or should I not resign, so that I can probably go back, like all of those things, as many things happening for me. So I was worried about what's going to happen there. So before I landed, I started reaching out to people and asking questions, just seeking advice. And that really helped me, because I was able to connect with people who, gave me that courage. You can do it. We've been able to do it here. But most importantly, one of my mentors, told me that, first of all, you have to build your mindset first. Whatever you think is what you're going to achieve, right? Everything starts with the mind. So you have to groom your mind. If you're already coming to Canada with this mindset of, oh, people are struggling there, then you're probably going to find yourself doing the same. So I started reading books on mindset. I started journaling and just seeing what I wanted to, happen for me. I created like a vision of what I wanted. I would go look at, people who were already succeeding, look at what they're doing, and really just, plug into whatever they did. Oh, they're getting these certifications. Oh, they're in these kinds of jobs. I look at the job descriptions and I say, okay, these are the kind of jobs I want. So starting to build my mindset, started attending events that were happening in Canada, career events, online virtual events, to sort of get my mind ready for Canada. So building my mindset, reading those mindset books, journaling about what I wanted to achieve, starting to create that vision really helped me. And just knowing that I was not going to accept anything less than what I truly deserved. That's really what helped me build that mindset. And it wasn't exactly like easy, right? Because there are times that I'll be like, should I just give up, or, do I just, take on these jobs that I'm getting, especially when I started getting all those rejections. But having all those tools and resources like the books and just journaling about what I wanted to do and praying as well about it, that kind of kept me going, and just seeing other successful people. Because while there are people truly who were struggling in those survival jobs, there were also people who were successful, right? And I was able to have coffee meetings with them. They were directors, senior managers, VPs, and these people were also immigrants. So I kind of keyed into that and said, if these people could achieve this, I'm going to borrow that belief that I can do it. Right? If they can achieve this and they granted me this 15 minutes to chat with me and tell me about their journey, then I think I can do it. So that also gave me that push that, you know what, regardless of, what I see around me, I know the future is bright. I'm going to keep pushing and keep getting better every day.
What you just mentioned now, it's what I call in the design world frame of reference. There's always when you want to design, you want to have a frame of reference as to what exactly you want to create. So what you did was to have a frame of reference
Right.
of what is possible, right? And I think a lot of times we don't see the importance of that, right? So people just in their own little way, they're trying to apply for jobs, they're trying to do things on their own, but not understanding that there's something about seeing what you want to achieve, and the universe begin to bring those things to your attention, and you begin to elevate yourself to that frame of reference. So that is very powerful. Thanks for sharing that. Let's talk about goal setting. I think when it comes to achieving your goal, your dreams, there's a place for setting goals, right? Talk to us about how do you go around setting goals for yourself when it comes to your career and the dreams that you had when coming to Canada?
Sure. In terms of setting goals, I just always knew that, one, I wanted to work in certain kinds of jobs, certain kinds of industries. I always knew that I gave myself sort of a timeline. Like for me, when I came to Canada, I said, you know what, within 6 months, I want to land a 6-figure job. And that was my goal. Like I was going to achieve that regardless of anything that was going to happen. And I didn't know how I was going to do it. But what I did was I said, okay, what can I do every day to help me achieve these goals? One, when I went to the job boards, I looked at specific roles that were already in that range. Those were the only roles I applied to. Secondly, every day before I slept, I would apply to at least 5 jobs. Right. And also every day I would connect with at least 5 recruiters or hiring managers. Those were the daily tasks. I said, I know I want to achieve this in 6 months. Right. However, what can I do to help me get there? So I just set up those daily tasks. I know that if I do this repeatedly every day and remain consistent, whether it's a holiday, whether it's a weekend, and I do this every day, there's no way I will not be able to meet that goal. And exactly on the last day of the 6th month, I got that offer of my first 6-figure job. So what are the daily activities that you're going to have or going to take, going to do to help you achieve that goal? For a lot of us, we set goals, right? But we don't actually break it down into small tasks, right? That we can actually, we can actually do daily. Right? The power of habits, right? Being able to do these tasks daily and it will help you meet that goal. And that's the same thing I do right now. If I wanted to achieve a goal, even if it's a revenue goal right now for the business, I break it down into as small as daily things like how many social media posts do I put out? How many comments do I want to actually get on a post that I'm going to respond to? How many emails do I want to send? Right? How many people do I want to speak to? How many presentations, how many proposals are going to get me there? As long as I'm doing this every day, I know that I'm going to meet that goal. So while we're setting these goals, what are you going to do every day, Monday to Sunday, that's going to help you achieve that goal? So that's how I go about goal setting. When I have a big audacious goal, every day I'm doing something that's going to get me there. And it just always works for me. I work backwards. I kind of like reverse engineer things. If I want to achieve something, I reverse engineer it and say, okay, in the next 6 months, I want to achieve this. Okay, backtrack to today. What are the things I'm going to do today, from today going forward, to help me achieve that in the next 3, 5, 6 months? That's what I do.
And that's really powerful. Daily activities.
Yes.
Because we tend to lose sight of the daily tasks or the daily activities that will get us to our goal, or more emphasis on the goal. So I want to do this, but what does that look like in a day? right?
Exactly.
So that's really powerful. And
And
you
you know
meant,
what,
yeah.
Emeka, when people come to me and say, oh, I'm trying to change my job, I'm trying to do this, I'm like, I say, so what are you doing every day? And they look at me like, yeah. They're
Hmm,
like, oh, here and there, they just apply here and there. I'm like, no, you can't do that. You need consistent action.
hmm.
Consistent action leads to results, not just taking action.
Come on now.
Consistent action leads to
Hmm,
those results.
hmm,
Because by the time you achieve that result, like, oh, I bought the house, I made this goal, or I doubled my income. However, you've been taking action, even if it's just maybe networking with somebody every day. Just know that, okay, every day this is something I have to do. And every time I advise people to do this, they come back and say, I did it. I
hmm,
got this job, I got that promotion, I did this, right? Just daily, consistent action every day. Some
hmm,
things are non-negotiable when you set goals.
hmm. Something came to my mind.
Yeah.
Every dream
Mm-hmm.
cannot be realized without daily goals.
Yeah,
So
right.
daily tasks, daily
Mm-hmm.
activities. You
Mm-hmm.
win by having daily something that you have to do that drives you towards where you're going through, and that is so important. Because I work with clients who, when I coach them and I want to know, okay, this is the job search strategy, and I ask, okay, so what have you been doing?
Mm-hmm.
And you can tell from the activities that it doesn't resonate with the goal they want to achieve,
At all.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's important that we to the detail of what exactly would that activity look like, right?
Exactly.
Powerful. Okay, let's shift gear a little bit and talk about, so for your goals,
Mm.
there were things that you had to achieve. So I know you mentioned that you were formerly accounting, you were in
Right.
accounting field, but now you moved to business analysis, and I believe that was part of your goal.
Mm.
So how did you come about making that decision for what exactly that goal should be? For example, business analysis.
Sure. So I
Was it
studied
was it the
accounting.
money? Was it the
No,
money,
it wasn't the
or what
money
exactly
actually,
was it?
because in Nigeria it wasn't like a field. I mean, you back
Hmm.
when you were in Nigeria, did you hear about business
No,
analysis?
no, no.
Exactly. So
I think you've
this
made
is
it
what
popular in Nigeria now. You.
right. It's now getting popular, right? And I'm now telling people about this path.
Hmm.
But back then, no, it wasn't. It was just the fact that I graduated from I loved accounting right from secondary school days. That's my high school days. I loved accounting. I was like I was an A student. So it just made sense for me to just continue. Did that, graduated, started working in the field, and realized, oh, it's different from when you're in class and you're given different tasks and you're excited to complete a task every day. This
Hmm.
when you're working, you're doing the same thing, right? Running payroll, managing expenses, all of that. It's the same thing over and over. And I just got bored and tired of doing the same thing, because as an accountant, there's nothing new that you have to do unless maybe there's a new project. So I started sort of putting myself into the project team and sort of working with them and going to the site. And just because I got tired of just sitting at my
Hmm.
desk all day doing the same thing, so I started getting more involved with the project management team and getting involved in projects just to get out of that mundane lifestyle. And because of that, I'm like, you know what? I don't think I want to do this for the rest of my life. I want
Right.
to probably try out something. Now that I've identified that I can't sit and just do the same thing over and over again. So I started researching. I took courses in HR, logistics and supply chain, digital marketing, project management, business analysis. So I had these 5 options. So I was looking for something. For me, what resonated the best for me was business analysis, simply because I found that the things I was doing within that organization were already business analysis tasks, right?
Hmm.
Helping them to make money, save money, improving processes, recommending new solutions, being involved in implementing those solutions in the organization, staff onboarding, relocation projects, things like that. Working with our vendors, I was doing all of those things, and that's what a business analyst does. So I'm like, okay, this resonates the most with what I'm doing. I don't have to go back to school, because my fear was also going back to get another degree.
Agree.
So when I
Yeah.
found that career path, I'm like, okay, this makes sense. However, in Nigeria, it wasn't popular. It wasn't a career path that was, known everywhere. It was either you worked in the bank or you were in the oil and gas or consulting. Those industries were the top industries that really had business analysts. Plus, most times they didn't even call them business analysts, right? So it was just varied names here and there.
Consultant or something like that.
Right. So you're just consultant or associate consultant. There's
Mm.
not, it wasn't exactly, sometimes they call them maybe transformation, business transformation team. It's something
Right.
like that, right? They just
Right.
give them a name. So I'm like, okay, this is not a popular career path, but I'm going to do this anyways. Why? Because for me, I felt, aside from the fact that it was new, I knew that there was going to be a lot of opportunity in the future, because when something is new and fresh, the they say something about the early adopters, right? They're the
Yeah.
ones who get in, take advantage of that, and become the people who are now seen at the top of the food chain, which is probably where I am right now because of how I got in that career so early. So for me, I was just being futuristic and thinking, okay, if I get into this career right now, in the next 5-10 years, I'm going to be one of the leaders in this career. So what are the things I need to do? I started taking courses, took the exam, had to go to Ghana to write the exam, because then in Nigeria, it wasn't like a popular thing. So we didn't have like a testing center, like a what they call CBT center, where you could do a
Right.
computer-based testing. I had to fly
Yeah.
to Ghana to do it. So I was making all of these decisions based on the fact that I knew that in the future, there was going to be an opportunity for me. So
Wow.
even when I completed that, and it took a while before I started getting job opportunities. So I went heavily on LinkedIn, started talking about business analysis on LinkedIn, talking about my career path, changing career
Were you
paths.
still in Nigeria by this time, or were
I was
you in
still in
Canada?
Nigeria.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Okay.
Yeah, I was still in Nigeria. And then I started getting opportunities. Then fintech was just getting, was just brooding in Nigeria. So a lot of opportunities started coming there. And then banks as well, Diamond Bank, Fidelity Bank, all of that. I was having heads of PMOs, CTOs reach out to me. Oh, we're setting up a business analysis team. I like your profile. We need to have a chat. So that gave me the opportunity to start practicing in Nigeria. And then shortly after that, I had to leave Nigeria because Canada came through for me. And when I came into Canada, I'm like, okay, this is now, I'm in North America, where business analysis has such a huge demand, because even with my wonky CV that I had and LinkedIn profile that wasn't exactly optimized to North American standard, I was still getting traction, at least getting calls and things like that. So I knew I was in the right place. So that's how this transition happened, and that's how I started to move into this BA career path. Yeah.
So now you started it from Nigeria, came to Canada, you continued.
Yeah.
How did you then, what were the challenges you faced that you had to deal with to be able to penetrate the market? Because
Right.
it's one thing to do it from your home country, it's another thing to break into the market here. So what were the things that you had to do in terms of, if you want to give the strategy or steps that you had to take?
For
What would
sure.
that be?
I'm happy to do that. I say this all the time. So before I came to Canada, immediately this whole Canada thing came to fruition. I'm like, oh, okay, it's real. And I have the visa. Okay, what do? I want to continue in this career path. How do I go about it? So I started doing research on business analysis jobs in the different provinces, because as you know, if you're not a provincial nominee, the first thing you're thinking about is, where do I land, right? What jobs are available and things. So I started looking at, where do I land at the jobs, what jobs are available there, what kind of BA jobs, and I started looking at the job descriptions. So what are they looking for? What are the skills required? What are some tools or techniques that I probably haven't, used, that I can start learning? So I started learning some new skills. I found out, data analysis, agile, and all of those methodologies were, really big here. So before coming down here, I started taking classes, went to take a data analysis class, took more online courses before I arrived in Canada. I started connecting with recruiters, hiring managers, and people in the field. So letting them know that I was a PR, I was landing April 2018. I would like to have a chat with them, asking for just a coffee chat, just to learn about their career journeys or learn about the roles they're hiring for. So what this afforded me was the opportunity to, immediately I came in, start having this coffee chat with these people, getting into their world, learning more about the BA industry here. And because of the previous work I had done, because of the network and connections I had made, I started getting referrals for roles, right? So I started getting referrals for roles, and then I was applying as well online. So that kind of helped me to get past a lot of the hurdles. But the other hurdles I faced were, one, rejections. I still got lots of rejections. Another hurdle was the Canadian work experience. I got rejected because of lack of Canadian work experience. So that kind of threw me off. I'm like, really, work experience? But I do have this work experience. So I started volunteering. So volunteering gave me access to the fact that I could leverage the experience I was already getting volunteering with some organizations here in Canada, put that on my resume too as well. That also helped open doors for me. So those were hurdles I faced, but these were things I took, steps I took to sort of get around those, get around those hurdles. And the truth is, I also had to also get better, improve my resume, get better with interviews, because I realized a lot of the roles that I missed out on initially when I came to Canada is I didn't know how to interview for the Canadian style of the scenario-based questions and all of the soft skills and things that they want to hear from you. Back in Nigeria, all the interviews and assessments I did, they would give me an aptitude test. I would do all of that. So imagine me coming there with a calculator and a pen and things like that. And and then he's asking me, what will you say to your manager if you had to, if he gave you, if you had your manager told you something and it's wrong, what will you say? I'm like, I can't tell my manager that he's wrong, because the Nigerian mindset to me. And the guy looked at me like, okay, so I had to, unlearn and relearn, in this new environment. So those were some of the hurdles I had to face. And I'm like, okay, I need to learn more about how to put your resume together, how to answer interview questions, how to do the chit chats, talk about the weather, researching my interviewer, talking about their interests as well, sort of building that connection. Those were not things that you would typically do from Nigeria. So I had to unlearn, relearn. And I realized I started adapting all those things, asking people questions. I kept getting better and better until I started landing all those offers, So, yeah.
Okay. Interesting journey. I want you. So you mentioned you started getting the offers and you got opportunities, but I also know that you then transitioned to what it is that you run now, the business analysis school,
right,
and other project that you have. At what point did you make that switch and figure out, okay, what, if I can provide the services under an organization, I can as well just do it on my own. So what was the pivotal moment that you've realized that this is a time to change, to make a switch to running my own thing? And how did you come about that decision?
Right. Okay. So when I started, working here as a business analyst and doing my job, I started getting a consulting, part-time consulting based offers, contractual offers. I'm like, okay, this is interesting. I started doing them as well. And it was like, good money, things that I could typically do. Do some contracts and consulting jobs, make money on the side. So that was really great for me. Another opportunity that I got that really kind of opened my eyes to the fact that I wanted to really be in education was when I got the offer from University of Manitoba. When they were building out their business analysis certificate program, they were looking for business analysts and consultants that could come and help build out the curriculum, develop the course, and also eventually teach. So when the University of Manitoba reached out to me and we went through the whole process and we started, I realized I actually did enjoy building out that curriculum and then even teaching the classes to the students. So I really liked that. So I knew that was something that I could continue doing in the future, maybe on my own. However, what was a pivotal moment for me in terms of choosing to have my own consulting company, doing this full time and, putting this school together was, one, I started getting a lot of people reach out to me. How are you able to do this, right? I see we have similar experience. I see we also landed at the same time, but, I'm still struggling. Like, what's happening? I'm like, oh, I'm doing business analysis. So I've heard about this business analysis. How does it work, right? So somebody asked that question. So I'm like, okay, if you are interested, let's just put together a WhatsApp group. And then the next night, the WhatsApp group was full and we had to extend to other channels. So we had like a session, info session. I talked about the career path. So people are saying, how do we get started? So I refer them to other training organizations, go get training, get certification, all of that. But there are people that probably that already had some training that were unable to land jobs. So I would make out time, prep them for interviews, review their resume, and they would land jobs. So those people would go back to the group and say, oh, I got a job, thank Eno for me. She helped me get my first job in Canada after this time and all of that. So people are now coming to like, why are we going to these people when you're helping people already? Why can't we just actually pay for your time and you help us, because you seem to understand us better. These other organizations the trainers don't understand the immigrant's journey. They don't really know how to help me leverage my experience.
Right.
So these are the things that people reach out to me to say, why don't you just help us? I'm like, okay, let me think about how I can structure this and I'll get back to you guys. And after a couple of months of, thinking about it, I'm like, okay, let me get started with this. And that's how we started. Google Meets, Google Drive, WhatsApp groups. Yeah.
Oh my. Wow. That's an amazing journey. And you started the business analysis school, and it has gone. I mean, I think there are a couple of people that I've seen, and they'll tell me, in the course of our discussion, that they're going through the school business analysis, like business. Where is the place? Say Calgary. I was like, okay, I know the person, right? Like, you've gained so much. So how did you? I know there were times where you had that self-doubt, or you had, the fear of what if this doesn't work?
Right.
How did you? And it happens to every one of us, right? So how did you overcome that self-doubt and that imposter syndrome to say, hey, this might not work?
I did have a lot of self-doubt and imposter syndrome because at that point, because I'd always just, the only place I really talked to was business analysis. I'll talk about business analysis on LinkedIn. Everywhere else I had like a private account, nobody really knew anything about me. And now putting myself out there to say, okay, we now have this school if you're interested, or even just making it work, because getting into the career, I could find those frame of reference from people. But with this business, I really couldn't, because I couldn't find anyone that I could say, okay, this person has been successful in this. Most people that were doing some sort of training, it was always like something on the side, or like on the weekends, they had their full-time jobs. Nobody had really done this. So I didn't have any frame of reference. I was really scared. And so I started reaching out to people who just had successful education businesses or coaching businesses and say, how have you been able to achieve this? How can I get out of my shell? I'm an introvert. How do I speak to these people? How do I lead this organization? How do I start to employ people and lead people around the world? How do I do this? So I started to look for mentors that could help me. That's the truth. And learn from their experiences, get guidance on how to achieve this, read more books on entrepreneurship, on leading teams, on building my mindset because the mindset you need as an employee is different from what you need as a business owner.
Right.
So reading books, so important. And also, finding people who had already gone before me, even though they weren't in my industry, learning from them and taking notes from them. Those were the things that really helped me to overcome this. And then also having in mind that, look, if I keep shrinking or allowing my doubt and imposter syndrome to get the best of me, I'm not going to be able to help and support the people that are depending on me, relying on me, or waiting for me, or looking for this information and don't have it. Because what I realized was, whenever I spoke to people who had come through the school, they're like, I really wish I had known you way before. I wouldn't have spent maybe thousands of dollars going back to school because somebody told me I had to do that, or spend all this time, doing this support worker job when I could just leverage my banking experience. So I said, there's people out there that need this information. So I'm going to stop shrinking, and I'm going to, build my mind to the point where I can boldly and confidently say, yes, there's a school that can help you achieve this.
Wow. Okay. That's and that is very important, like building that mindset where you now begin to show up. And
Exactly.
because it takes a lot of
It does.
my, like, it takes a guts, it takes grit to be able to, because you definitely will have competition, or you probably will have people like, what exactly is this? Why are you always talking about business analysis?
Exactly.
Is this the only career in life? So what were the things that we hear this in about dopamine, or things that kind of inspire us to keep pushing? What were the things that you say that you saw that kept you going? Some, you've won awards. Was it the award that kept you going? Was
No,
it the fact that you're impacting lives and people are
no.
giving you feedback? What were the things that kept you going?
I have a folder. I have a testimonial folder on my phone, and it goes back to 2018 till
Hmm.
date. And in that folder is just every conversation, every testimonial that somebody has shared with me, every private message, public or private, that people have said about how I've helped them achieve their, change their lives.
Hmm.
Right. And that's what keeps me going. Every time that there are some days that I just felt, I don't know if I can do this, because running a business, it's not as easy as people think, right?
No.
There's just so many things behind the scenes that as the business owner, you can't just come on and say, like, people, it's easy for people to say, oh, I'm tired of my job. It's a toxic environment. It's this, I want to change, I want to earn more money. And you can just come on LinkedIn and even just rant. And someone says, oh, send me your resume or something.
Hmm.
As a
Hmm.
business owner, you can't just come and say all of that. So there's a lot of things that, you hold inside and you just pray and hope. But on days that I feel like that, I just open that folder and I just look through all the people that have received success, that have been able to turn their lives around. And that kind of keeps me going. Like, if there's one of this person that could do this, there's like maybe hundreds or thousands of people out there that also need to, change their lives as well. So that's what keeps me going, is the success stories,
Hmm.
the
Hmm.
testimonials, how people have turned their lives around. I mean, we've seen, like, there's nothing that right now that I've not seen, from people working like a call center to now leading a team and winning national awards, like just doing amazing things that are, leading, becoming directors in like 2 years, so those
Hmm.
are kind of like the mind-blowing um testimonials and successes that the students have, that kind of keeps me going, that if you could help somebody go from, you know, almost suicidal to becoming this, like, you can help more people. So why are you not going to show up? Like, I have an assignment and I have to
Hmm.
carry it out. No matter how I'm feeling, I just have to do it.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Assignment. Hmm.
Yeah, I do have an assignment. Yep. That's
That's
what it is.
that's a different mindset entirely. Because once you see it as an assignment, it's almost like it's not something that you can just put aside because you don't feel like it. It's something
So
that you're
many
gonna
people's
assign to do.
lives, livelihoods, happiness, joy, destinies are tied to this. Like, it's a mission, right? When I get messages from my students saying, oh, I bought my first house, I just bought I just bought my second investment property. Like, I just
Hmm.
did this. And 6 months ago, I didn't think I could do this. Like, 6 months ago, I was in a call center. This is what I have achieved. Those are the things that get me going. Like, okay, like, we can do this. Regardless, we're going to just push through. It doesn't matter, what it takes. Doesn't matter how I'm feeling. We're just going to do this. So it really, truly is an assignment, because when you're changing people's lives and helping them to, people, there's so many things that people go through, especially even people that are married. Financial difficulty in marriage is like one of the big reasons why couples
Hmm.
divorce. And
Hmm.
it's really just
Hmm.
because the income level is low.
Hmm.
But helping a husband and a wife up level, and they're now happier, and they're coming to tell you all of this, like, those are the things that keep me going. It's definitely an assignment. It is.
Yes. Yes, it is. Would you say you're living your dream now?
I am living my dream. It's a life of purpose. I'm
Hmm.
happy. I don't think I had this kind of joy, happiness, or felt this purpose. I mean, I worked on amazing projects that, of course, they, impacted organizations and in turn impacted customers. But being able to do this, like, personally know about how people's lives turn around, like, that's living that purpose. Like, I did this. I'm helping people do this. And I've created that, framework and that blueprint that people can just come in, walk through it. And on the other end of it, that's success. That's what success looks like for them.
Hmm. Let's talk about this purpose thing, and a little bit,
Hmm.
because there's differences between the position and the place of purpose.
Hmm.
Because people could get into business analysis, or get into the field that this is the position, maybe this is what is going to get me income and all of that, but still don't understand the place of purpose. Because what you're doing right now, you have transitioned from a place of this is what I love to do and all, but this is also something that is purposeful. There's a
Right.
why to why I'm doing it, right? And what would you say to that person who is just about to get into this? That do they should which should be a priority, purpose or the whatever they're looking for, the goal. What should be their priority when it comes to um living their dreams or pursuing what they really desire?
Well, I'll always start with the why. I believe your why is should be the foundation of anything that you want to do. Why are you going to do it, right? And then when you determine your why, who, right? Who is going to be impacted by what you're going to do? How's it going to benefit them, right? Because I tell people this all the time. I say, when you pursue impact, right, the income will follow. So when you pursue impact first, make an impact in people's lives, the income will follow. Like that's a given. Like you don't have to worry about it. Focus on impact, the income will
You should
follow.
write that down.
Yeah, focus on impact, the income will follow for
Oh,
sure.
that's
You know,
right.
how many people's lives do I want to be able to impact, to touch, right? How do I want to help these people? So whatever anyone that's listening chooses to do right now, look at it from the aspect of the impact. Why am I doing this? Who is going to be benefiting from this? How am I going to impact them? And trust me, the income is going to follow once you have that mapped out and you can truly deliver, deliver whatever it is you're going to give to them, deliver that impact. You're going to get the income that you deserve. But determine your why and the who behind that, and you'll find that you are going to find yourself plugged into your purpose. It's not going to be something that you're going to struggle with, because it's going to just everything's going to just fall into place for you. Yeah.
Yeah, the reason why I asked that is because a lot of times you see, for especially new immigrant, they come into, this particular new space, and their mind is more about the income,
Mm.
and some of them might even be doing business analysis, and they might be doing it for the wrong reason. Now,
Mhm.
they might be making the income, right? But
Mm.
really, are they living life to the fullest?
Fullest,
Where
exactly.
because there's probably more to life than that income. So I like the
Mm.
fact that you put it that way, that pursue impact and income will follow. And the truth is this: the higher the impact you make, now if you're well positioned and strategic about it, the more income you're going to make,
Oh
right?
yeah, absolutely. And I believe everything that has happened for me, you talk about these awards and you talk about, the success that we've had. It was all impact driven. In fact,
Mm,
even being able
mm,
to land these jobs, I started volunteering. Like the first week I got here, I started volunteering.
mm,
Started giving my time towards a cause, right? Helping other business analysis professionals get certified. I was already certified, but I didn't have that job. But I already started focusing on impact,
mm.
right? And from that place of impact where I was serving, I got all these other opportunities, the opportunity to teach at the university because I was already teaching, and all these other positions and offers that I got were because I was already at that point, at that place where I was providing impact. So I believe that's the reason why I also attracted all of this, is that I focused on impact first.
Hmm.
And when I tell people this, like, volunteer, give your time, look at ways you can contribute, even at work, you're like, oh, you know,
Yeah, I think this is this is going to be a wake up call for someone who's going to be listening to this or watching this,
yeah,
and they're at that point where they're frustrated, they haven't even found their job. Maybe you're looking at job search wrong differently, like
yeah.
like if you look. I remember when I came into as well. One of the things I was doing, I used to share this story, is before I even got a job, I was volunteering with an organization to be a job, an interview coach, and I was
Really?
I was
You
coaching
didn't have
people
your own
I
job.
was coaching people who were going for interview, and I never had a job yet.
But
You know,
guess what? You are also practicing yourself. You are preparing
yeah,
yourself.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I was giving values to the point where the organization had to write, like a reference and a testimonial when I was rounding up my time with them. So
Mm,
this would be a wake up call to someone who's listening. That this is you're probably looking at job search wrongly. You're probably looking at the things you desire, because there's
mm,
this principle that when you seek after things that add value to people, seek after things that bring significance and all, these other
mm,
things will be added to you. Like, and it's a scripture, I'm going to quote it.
yeah.
It says, seek first the kingdom, right? The
Mm,
kingdom, the kingdom of God could be likened to the things that bring peace, the things that brings joy, the things that bring
mm,
fulfillment, the things that bring happiness to the world. Seek after
right.
those things. And all these things, the income, the basic shelter, the needs, and all of that will be
Mm,
added to you. Because when you begin to think impact, your mind is broadened. to the
Right.
solutions that you want to provide, right?
Right.
It's not just about you, because what happens is when people think that way, they see the value they offer to the organization differently. And I tell them, when I coach my client, don't, when you're going to interview, don't go because you want a job. I want to be in a company where there's, that is what you want. Look
Mm.
at what are the impacts you want to make in the organization. What are the
Exactly.
things that you want to do? And when you come from that point, people will gravitate towards you. Opportunities will gravitate towards you. So that, I like the fact that you share that insight.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do go a little bit further into when, what would you say, you probably have faced some difficult situations, in the course of running your business and all, and it can
True.
be likened to someone also who is, career professional.
Mm.
How have you been able to position yourself such that the tough times doesn't move you? What I mean is this, there's something around planting yourself on the sand and planting
Mm.
yourself on a rock.
Right.
Now, the positioning is really important when it comes to, how you'll be able to stand when tough time comes. So how have you
Mm.
been able to position yourself such that when things, maybe no business coming in, or you are not getting that the project what were the things that you kept you grounded?
Well, the things that kept me grounded were really the practices that, I had sort of established. Which one is prayer, right? Reading my Bible and praying. That's like that's where I seek, refuge whenever I, go through those challenges. Reading my Bible, praying. For sure. Second is, having that sort of support system. You really need that support system when you are, when you're doing whether you're trying to get a new job, you're building a business, you need people around you that, you can just say, today is just hard. Like, it's okay. You can do it. And just a few words of affirmation here and there and encouragement, it really just helps lighten things up. And then also, things that I do, I learned how, when I learned how to journal, and it really helped me to sort of offload a lot of things and
Hmm.
just focus on the positives and focus on the future, and leaving behind what was happening currently with me. That helped me. And then also having a vision board. These
Hmm.
are things I learned from having mindset coaches, that when I look at my vision board, I'm like, okay, this is part of the process, right? You cannot become this person you want to be without going through all of these challenges. It is part of the story, it's part of the journey. We're going through it, it's going to get better. And just encouraging myself all through, that time. So those are the things I typically would, do when I find myself in those situations. Until now, it still helps me a whole lot, because trust me, it doesn't get easier. It actually
Hmm.
gets tougher, as you grow. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it gets tougher, that's for sure. And I want to touch on the fact that, what were the things that you, because you mentioned, prayers and the things that stayed, made you grounded, but I want to talk about the power of um the social media or LinkedIn, because you
Mm,
mentioned in a part of your story was connecting with people and all. And a lot of times we have career professionals who take these things for granted. You tell them, things like how to optimize a profile, put yourself out there and all of that. And some people don't take it seriously. So, and I've seen you, like the way you generate content. I think you've even slowed down a little bit because you're getting more, demands, and your workload is increasing. But I know back then you were churning out content, almost every day, right? If not every day, and maybe twice
every
in a day.
day.
You know,
Mm.
what? How did that shape, get you to where you're out today? And how important is it for career professionals to begin to tell their story and put themselves out there?
I cannot overemphasize this, and I get you when I say I coach people to that struggle with using LinkedIn, and I tell them, I said, even though my life was private everywhere else, my LinkedIn profile was never private. I leverage LinkedIn to build a personal brand for myself.
Hmm.
I tell people that even people like in Nigeria say, "Oh, there's no jobs," blah blah blah. I'm like, I was getting people DMing me to come for interviews, CTOs, directors, head of PMOs, to come for business analyst interviews. Leverage LinkedIn, build a personal brand for yourself. That platform is a lot of professionals, undermine the power of that platform.
Mm.
You can get a lot of, whether it's jobs, whether it's contracts and consulting projects, even speaking engagements, whatever it is, media features, it all comes from there. For me, from building a LinkedIn profile, and it's really just talking about the things that are important to me, because you never know, it could be impacting somebody else. I talk about the things
Mm.
important to me. I talk about my story. I talk about my industry. I talk about things that I know that I feel can impact somebody, can help somebody else. So anyone who's watching or listening, if you don't leverage LinkedIn, do that. Optimize your profile and make sure that you are putting out content. And it really just could be writing or videos, whatever you choose to do, even if just writing a post every day, talking about something. You can't want to stand out and become a thought leader in a space when you're not known for something.
Right.
How do people find you? When people search you, the first thing that comes up is your LinkedIn. And when they go there, they don't see any picture. You haven't been active in 90 days. They're like, okay, who is this person? Why should this person be the person that would actually invite to come speak on this topic?
Right.
So you want to make sure that you're putting in that action every day. Like I shared with you earlier, when you have a goal, is those daily action steps. And that's why you say, you took note of the fact that I posted on LinkedIn every day. That was a goal for me. How can I build my personal brand to the point where organizations or hiring managers go to my LinkedIn profile like, oh, she stands for this. She's, this is what she stands for. We like her. We want to work with her. Or even companies reaching out or press reaching out. It's from my LinkedIn profile.
Yeah.
Right.
There's power. There's power in presentation. There's power in image. I mean, I noticed the period when you updated your personal brand photos and everything. And I'm like, come on. And you know what? Because people are not people tend to not be intentional about
Right.
there are little things that can increase their brand perception, right? Like even just a quality profile picture, so people,
Right.
using selfie and all. No. It should
Right.
be something that represents where you're going, something that represents who you are, right?
Yeah.
Okay, let's wrap things up. I usually ask my guests 3 questions. Now you can
Okay.
answer the question in one word, or you can choose to expatiate on the word. First question is, what are you yet to achieve, or what is that dream that you have that you're yet to see come to fruition? Hmm.
Sure. So like I shared with you earlier, I'm focused on impact. So I still have a 1 million goal in terms of people that would have I would have impacted through any of my training, speaking, engagements, workshops, everything that I do in, collated together. So we're not yet at that 1 million goal. So that's a goal that I still have, and it's right there, and I see it every day. So
Every day. How do you keep track of it?
what?
How do you keep track of
Oh, I do keep track through our channel. So people who come through the business analysis school or even our consulting. So everything I do in terms of the speaking I do, free trainings, paid trainings, anything that I do whereby I am talking about business analysis, I want to have impacted 1 million people. So
Wow.
I am tracking that, and we're very close to that goal. So that's something that I'm yet to have achieved. So
That's amazing. What's the target? What's the target time frame for that 1 million?
the time frame for that is
2024 or 2025?
early 2025 is the target, but I think we can do it by 2024.
Amazing. And
Yeah.
who are the target audience for this? Or just everybody, or is it just immigrant, or is it
Not just immigrants, professionals. I want to have,
professional?
impacted on 1 million professionals. Yeah.
Wow. That's awesome.
Mhm.
Great. Well done. Second question.
Thank you.
What are the daily routines? We talked about daily activities. What are the daily routines? If you want to mention 3 daily routines that has kept you in that same mindset and help you to keep moving towards your goal, what are the daily routines that you have to, that's a must do?
Must do is every day is read Bible, pray. Like those are daily routines. Second is making sure I keep my mind active. So every day I read something.
Yeah, I
Whether
can
it's
see
an
your
audio
books behind you.
Oh, my books, right? Trust me, my basement, I have like books. I need a bigger office. So
Right.
books, either it's audio or I read a physical book, or I'm doing both at the same time. I keep my mind active. Second is my body. I make sure that I move every day because physical activity too is great. It helps your mind. So that's important. And of course, resting. So yeah,
Hmm.
those are things I do every day.
Awesome. Awesome. I think the one for me, yeah, I'm still working on the books part. Yes, I do. But
Yeah.
that moving part, I have to keep doing it. I used to do it in summer, but when it's winter, oh, I can't.
Or you can do it at home. Like you don't have to.
Yeah,
It's not like I'm, a workout junkie, but just something, just
something
moving
that
my
keeps it.
body every day.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm. Great. Final question: what's your favorite book of all time? If you're to recommend one book, what would that be?
Uh, okay. Based off of the conversation, this is tough. This is tough. Must
I
it be
do.
one book?
Okay, you can give two books.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um, Atomic Habits,
Hmm. Yeah.
James Clear, and Power of the Subconscious Mind. These two books really helped me in the beginning of my journey. Power of the Subconscious Mind. I can't remember who the author was,
Hmm.
but this was one of the first mindset books recommended to me by my mentor, and it really helped me with my mindset. And then Atomic Habits. This helps you like break down the daily tasks that you do every day that are non-negotiable. So just every day, I have to do these 2 or 3 things. They're going to build up towards helping you achieve your goal. So if you're struggling with goal setting, read Atomic Habits.
Hmm.
It's definitely going to help you. There's
Mhm.
also a workbook, so that's good.
Wow. Great, great. I know definitely books have impacted your life, and
Mhm.
I can see the difference. Because one of the things that about this podcast is around personal growth, and
Mm,
one way to develop yourself is books. People spend a lot of time working and less time growing,
mm,
and
right,
it has to be very intentional to be able to put yourself where you are daily improving yourself. I'm not saying just the technical part of your job, that's okay,
right,
but
right.
the daily part of your life that makes you whole, that makes you fulfilled, that
Mhm,
that makes you make more impact beyond the four walls of your organization, such that you
right.
are valuable. Because I tell career professionals, if today your job was taken away from you, what was your relevance? What else can you
Mhm.
do? And that's where it comes, self-education, personal development comes in, and you can develop those skills to improve yourself. It's been a great time having this conversation with you. If you were to
Yeah.
give a final words to our listeners, immigrant community, what would be your final advice?
I would say is get comfortable being uncomfortable. If I
Mm,
wasn't uncomfortable in my accounting career, I wouldn't be where I am today. If I wasn't uncomfortable with the fact that people were struggling and I knew I could help them and I didn't take any action, nothing would have happened. So get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Continuous development, improve yourself. Don't ever feel like, oh, I know it all. Like you said, you just said, improve yourself, develop yourself, build a personal brand. And of course, find coaches, find mentors. Those are ways you can also, like I talk about my support system all the time. I never do anything without having a sounding board. And one of my
mm.
coaches told to me, he said, kings and queens, they have a board of advisors, right? They have a board. They
Come
have
on
people
now.
that advise them, the presidents, the prime minister. So if you see yourself as that person who wants to grow as a leader, you need people that will be your sounding board to make sure you have your own board of advisors.
Hmm. That reminds me, I have one of a guest who will be coming on this show. I
All
think she's
right.
coming up sometime in May or June, and she's going to talk on. She's a specialist, or like call her an expert when it comes to developing a
Mhm.
personal board advisor. So she's going to come and talk
Awesome.
about it because I think it's very important. Like how we have organizations have board of advisors, we as
Mm,
individuals can have board of advisors, right? So
exactly.
yeah, thanks for sharing that. It was a pleasure having you on the show.
Same
If our
here.
listeners has to follow you, to check you out, follow what you do, what's the best platform for them to connect?
Sure. So I'm on LinkedIn, Eno Eka, Eno, my last name Eka. On my personal social media platforms are Miss Pragmatic, MissPragmatic. And the school is Business Analysis School. So businessanalysis.school.com. All our social media pages are also Business Analysis School. And then for our company, the consulting company is ENY Consulting. ENY consulting.ca or ENY consulting on any social media platform. That's where you can find us.
Awesome. We'll have all of this information on the show notes once it goes live. And yeah, it's been a pleasure. I hope the next time when we invite you, you'll be able to show up for us.
Yeah, hopefully I enjoyed this conversation. I really
All
love
right.
sharing my story because I know that it definitely helps other people to dream big and know that they can achieve all things. And kudos on the podcast. Fantastic
Yeah,
podcast, by the
thank
way.
you. Thank you. You're an inspiration. You are like I shared, before we started recording, that you are a true definition of dreams are possible. I don't know if there's anything called the Canadian dream, but the fact that you can come somewhere and, like take, not take over,
Well, if you
but
think so.
you can come
Did I or did I
somewhere.
not?
You can come to a new territory and have dominion, right?
Right.
Because one of my messages always occupy space. And
Mm,
that's because we have a mandate as I'm a Christian, I'm a believer, and I mentioned that on the podcast that our mandate here is to occupy. God said, "Occupy till I come." It's not just to
exactly.
leave. He said, "Occupy." It's an intentional
Mm,
mandates that you have to
right.
occupy space. So
All
occupy
right.
space in the mind, occupy space in your profession, and you've
Absolutely.
occupied the space of business analysis. I mean, each
Absolutely.
time if they mention business analysis, you come to my mind, and I know that's how the amount of the impact you've made to the community, and you inspire a lot of people. So keep doing what you do, and if no one is telling you, and I know you said you have your file where you have all those testimonials, and I know that those are your inspiration, but from me to you, this is I'm a big fan.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Nika.
You're welcome. You're welcome.